Hello and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole, coming to you live here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, everyone.
We're in the land of pink bubbles today.
And we are ASHALA and KRISTAL, and we are here to go down some rabbit holes with all of you. It is wonderful to be here on a Thursday afternoon. Hello, Lupo. Yeah.
Thursday evening for some of you,
Thursday evening.
and possibly even Friday morning for others. So
Perfect.
this is the week that we're in, coming up to, we've just had the new moon in Libra. Wow, wasn't that powerful? I'm just noticing, oh, I've got a hair sticking up here. It's funny when you have the green screen behind you. It's like, oh, that's curious.
Especially when you have
fuzzy curly hair.
A curly top, curly bob.
The full moon, which is coming up, is going to be in Taurus, and I believe that is around the 5th and 6th of November. And we just had the new moon in Libra. We are also coming into, at the end of this month, of course, we have the festival of Samhain, also known as Halloween, and this is a time traditionally in many, many parts of the world where we honor our ancestors. We honor the spirits of the ones that have crossed over, and there's a lot of superstition, a lot of woo-woo magic and mystery. And I don't know, should we maybe start off with a bit of deep dive around that, Crystal? What do you feel?
I love it.
Because next week it'll already be, we'll already be into it, I think. Actually, it might be right on the 31st or 1st next week, but I think let's start with that because no one else has brought us a question yet. So I'm going to shuffle some cards. You want to bring the...
Let's bring the cards up.
Cards up, yeah.
And no specific topic today. We're just going to roll out with you all. So if you do have any questions, bring them forward. Let's deep dive into them. Oh, I remember that there was one last time wanting to look into the 13th astrological sign.
Interesting, because that kind of corresponds, I think, with this month and the whole idea of the 13 moons calendar, the relevance of what does this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, this, Samhain, also known as All Hallows Eve, Halloween. How does that relate to the 13 moons lunar calendar, which then would give us a 13th astrological sign? I think there's some connection in all of those things. You want to shuffle on it, dear, and see what happens? And for those of you that don't know, this is my daughter. That's why I call her dear.
You might call me dear anyhow if I was sitting next to you.
It may be.
Yeah. We're nice people like that, you know? Okay, love this. Got some questions rolling in.
Great.
So
we have a bit of a theme going on here already. We are looking at this incredibly potent time of the year. We're in Scorpio season. What does that mean for those of you that don't know much about astrology? Scorpio is the sign that is associated with sort of death and rebirth. Scorpio energy is often about getting deep into the mystery of things and going through the whole process like a shamanic death and rebirth. It's the phoenix. It's the phoenix rising from the ashes, things transforming and getting to the depth of any topic. It's very much a down the rabbit hole kind of energy. And endings and new beginnings, all of that is related to Scorpio. And when I think about the 13-month lunar calendar, because if you count the lunar calendar, every 28 months we go through the whole cycle of 28 months, 28 days. We go through the whole
This is new
cycle.
to me.
We go through the whole cycle of a lunar process, basically from full moon to new moon and back again. So that takes 28 days, but the solar calendar doesn't allow for that extra number of days. By the end of the year, you've got a whole extra month. If the calendar was only 28 days per month, there would be an extra month, and that relates to this extra astrological sign as well.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay.
So let's see what the cards have to say about this. So we start with the star, that's us. We are asking about the relevance of the star.
I know, I was like, this could be a very astrologically relevant card.
It
Yes.
could be. It really could be. Yeah, I feel this is getting into more ancient knowledge around mysticism, around astronomy. How did astrology begin? It's connected to astronomy, which of course is connected to cycles, long count cycles that go through eons. You know, like the precession of the equinox, for example, where these cycles shift every 2,500 years, and then I believe it's every 2,800 years. We go through another cycle renewal. So in that system, which is far more ancient than astrology,
Mhm.
days and months are counted out differently. So let's have a look at what happened to the missing sign, and is that related somehow to Scorpio in this time of the year?
Oh,
Uh-huh,
let me see what happened.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the missing sign? So what I'm hearing is in the age of Aries. So we just finished in the precession of the equinox. We just came out of the age of Pisces. We've been in that for about 2,500 years. So that takes us to about 500 BC. We've been in the age of Pisces. And prior to that, 2,500 years before that, so that would be from 500 BC to, let me do my math right now, well, to 3,000 BC. So that era between 500 BC and 3000 BC, which was the age of Aries, it's where the patriarchal religions started. That's where the Abrahamic religions, the father, sky god religions started during that age of Aries. And that's when we shifted out of the lunar calendar and we lost the 13th sign, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to lay out.
Would this be a shift as well in terms of us shifting from more of the feminine to more of the masculine?
I believe so.
I just
believe so.
feel that with these two cards here, that this is where we were coming from, and then this is what happened to it. Look at this.
Mm-hmm. It's so something, it's something to do with, I was feeling it had to do with this time of year, but I feel like it's more around the Aries time. I feel like this missing sign is in between Aries, maybe even between Aries and Pisces.
Ah,
And it is actually
yes.
more related to inserting this. So I wonder what that missing sign, I don't know the name of it. Whoever was asking about it, please put the name of the 13th sign. I've heard it, but I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
I
Can you
feel like
remember it?
I don't remember. I took a picture of the question. I feel like Suzanne would know because
So
she knows a lot of those things, and also I believe that she had comment. We've asked about the 13th sign before.
on our YouTube channel, we've
Yes.
spoken about it,
Yes.
but that was quite a long time ago.
messing with the feminine cycle of 28 days, did the moon appear at the same time?
Okay, we'll look at that, Suzanne. We'll look
I'm
at the
gonna
moon.
Star that. We'll come back to you.
So yes, we have an astrological card because this is astronomy and astrology. It's the star card. What happened to the 13th sign, and also how does that relate to this time of year? Well, we
Here
have
we
the
have it.
patriarch.
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus. Okay, anyone know a bit of the mythology around this? And we'll see if it relates to what I'm seeing, because I see that, oh, interesting, even this could be very connected to the time of the Tower of Babel. And I got that feeling this was during the age of Aries, which was from 500 BC to 3000 BC. And this is the dawn of the Abrahamic religions and a patriarchal focal point, which gets into monotheism. I know for those of you that aren't really big on religious academia, these are big concepts, but it's basically like a one God focus. And this was all set in motion during that time period. And it's starting to feel like it was trying to protect us, but it actually did the opposite, is what I'm feeling.
By recalculating it and removing that aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have here that the missing month is Soul, and the month of Soul is between June and July. So
Okay.
is that something different?
It could be. It could be. It's interesting that I keep getting this feeling about Aries and the beginning and the end of our current astrological configuration.
Can we put those last two down?
Yeah, and let's see. Huh. Okay, this is different. I'm not entirely sure that it's almost like everything got bumped around is what I'm being shown. I don't know if it's actually like a sign that just gets inserted between Aries and Pisces, or in July, between June and July, or July and August. I actually think it got divided, like all those four. So from Pisces to, how many signs are there? So there's Pisces, and then comes Aries, and then comes gosh, do my quick math in my head, then comes April, May, Taurus, and then Gemini, and then Cancer, which is July. So those 4 months is what I'm hearing. Aries, what did I just say? You know the ones. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer all got kind of muddled with, is what I'm hearing. Those astrological times got, because it's not just one but 4.
Yeah, I was going to say,
months.
you're getting that from that crossroads.
I
there.
am.
Yes.
I'm getting it from this, and also we've got a 4 here with the Emperor. So there's something about 4 months that got tampered with, starting with the 4th month, which is April, which is Aries. So April, May, June, and July all got tampered with. And how does that affect us? Well, we have an opportunity now with new information to have a reset. And, we really want to look at how this was designed to mess with our knowledge, our ability to learn and have information. Because I see the Tower of Babel. I see, Gemini is right in the middle of that. I am a Gemini. I really get that there was a disruptor around how we receive information, how we process information, how we share information. And that was where a lot of the the alphabets, the systems of writing. So much happened during that time to kind of steer us away. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? 13 moons and 28 days are on all turtle shells.
Something to be said there for sure. Something to be
Mm-hmm.
said there for sure. So where does this leave us in terms of how this is affecting us right now?
Let's ask some more questions about it.
Yes.
And how does it relate to this time of the year?
This time of the year.
felt
That's where
like-
we started, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we're
There's
waiting.
that 4 again.
Another 4.
So it's messed somehow with the foundation of who we are. We've based ourselves a lot on these the structures of these calendars, time cycles of our astrological signs as we know it, and it's actually served us in the way, I guess, that it needed to during the time that it came forth. However, it's no longer serving us in the path which we're going to take forward, the consciousness which we're stepping into, and we're kind of in that transitional holding period right now and building this new foundation going forward as more of this information comes through, and as we step into the age of Pisces, no, Aquarius, out of the age of Pisces. It's kind of like this. I agree with you, Mom, to a certain extent. This space that was between Pisces and Aries, it's there's that a transitional sign almost that goes between that which is your deepest subconscious and
The new beginning.
the new beginning.
And it wasn't so
It's the
black and
journeying
white.
sign.
It wasn't so polarized and power dominant, right? Because the emperor is about power. It's about power and structure and like dominance, basically. When it's aspected with that 3 of Swords and the Tower, that's a lot of like sort of hijacking our energy for a specific agenda. So really, we've been on this massive agenda since that time. I think there's been the beginning, the impetus of it happened much earlier. I think it happened a couple of epochs earlier at the end of Atlantis. But the real, I want to say more like the dark arts of manipulating time, our intelligence, our narratives, language, all of that, laws, everything, that all stems to that era. And I love that it's connected to this missing sign that was distributed over. So all of the signs, basically what we could say, oh, good question. Wouldn't that extra zodiac sign be seen in the stars? Let's look at that. Because we could say that each of those 4 signs in the middle of that compromise are altered somehow and not at their best, is what I'm getting.
Just kidding.
She's going, haha, because I'm one of them. Yeah, I concur with that. Definitely.
I'm way up in the top. I've got like Capricorn, Sag, Aquarius, Scorpio. I'm like just hanging out in the top of the wheel there.
Okay, so wouldn't that extra zodiac sign be seen in the stars? Wait for it. We've got the patience and waiting card and the hangman. Wait for it, Murdoch. Is that what we're seeing returning?
Speaking of 3-eye atlas, right?
Well, or just, I mean, I'm even looking at your personal profile picture there with that like streaking comet through the sky. Like we may see changes, astronomical changes. Something's been hidden. Now, Suzanne asked, "Does this when the moon was put up?" And I'm always feeling and hearing like something was cloaked, something was blocked out of our ability to know there is another sign. There is another zodiac sign. But it could be, if you think about even the constellations that are referred to the zodiac, if 4 of them are misplaced, if 4 of them are actually not what they originally were, they've all been, well, those 4 have been tampered with, then you would take some stars from each of those and reformulate them. And it could be there that we start to see a new a new constellation forming, and some parts of it that have been hidden reappearing. In America, the calendar's changed on January 1. When is the new year? Yeah, let's get some of these questions up and see. I love where we're going.
Where did you see here?
Yeah.
There was lots about calendars here.
Mm-hmm.
In America, the calendar's changed on January 1. And then,
yeah, one. The one card, the ace, the beginning, the it's like a disruptor is what I'm hearing. And if you think about the way clocks tick, and if they're thrown off balance, they don't keep time properly. So this is a lot about our
Deci means 10, Novi means 9, Oct means 8, and so forth. Yeah,
Correct.
that's been brought forward before too. It's just, and as you were saying that, right, that
So we
seems
would
off.
be in the last month right now.
Yes.
We would be in the last month.
Yes.
Because it would be December would be the 10th month, which is what we now call October. So the end of October would technically be the new year. So something's going on. There's something going on here.
We're going on a new ride.
We definitely are. We definitely are.
There's no two
More
ways about
questions than answers, as always. And if you can stay in the joy of the journey of exploration with all of this, and not be like, oh, I throw my hands up in despair, I can't make sense of any of it. How about recognizing that there's more is going to be revealed? So what you're being asked to do is to expand your perception, open your mind, stay open, because what we're doing in this show and with these kinds of deep dives and explorations is we're looking to create some space for a new narrative to come in. And yeah.
7 Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, because the sun passes through it from roughly November 29th to December 18th.
Interesting.
Okay.
So it is actually connected to this time of year as well. So we had something in July, we have something in November and October. There's a mystery developing here. There's a real mystery. You're going to hear our little train go by in a second. It goes by like once a week. So cute. Maybe you'll hear it. Do we have another
Sure, we got lots
direction?
of
Let's go in a new direction. Are we feeling complete? That's enough for now. We've stimulated, I love to say, massage your imagination. I call it the imagination. That's where magic happens. Let that just sink in. Give it a little massage. We'll come back to this.
Sometimes I like to give myself head massages. I was doing that the other day. I was going, oh my goodness, there is all of these nerve endings in my head that need a little love. A lot of tension can get stored in there and then travel through the rest of the body. As a hairstylist, I'm saying. We're not going down that rabbit hole right now. We're going to go into, can we look into the Indigenous land rights in BC, and how will this impact the rest of Canada?
I mean, this relates to Indigenous land rights globally.
Everywhere.
And this is a very big, beautiful topic. Very big, beautiful topic. And where are we at in BC? I do feel that sovereignty and land-based sovereignty is going to be woven with different Indigenous groups around the world going forward from here on. It's very complex. It's not black and white. And yet we all came from Indigenous groups at one point. Oh, I didn't get you to. Here.
I'm
Sorry.
just here.
No, you're not just here.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna tune into this here. Carry on, Mama.
We all come from an indigenous land-based culture. If you go back far enough, we each have our ancestral origins in some part of the world where our forefathers and foremothers had a deep spiritual connection to the land that they lived on, and that's what the word indigenous means. It means dig in the earth, dig in the earth, or of the earth, or connected to the earth. And so the beautiful role and opportunity of supporting indigenous groups around the world right now who still have some degree of an intact land-based culture is that they can be heralding the whole movement towards reclamation of what it means to be a sovereign, which is to have a relationship with land on this planet, somewhere on this planet. And we all, as a birthright, have a right to have a home, to have a land where we were born or where we were transplanted, and we form a deep, sacred relationship with that land that cannot be bought or sold. So it's a big topic. And how will what happens in British Columbia going forward affect the rest of Canada and potentially the world? So we're starting off with the Four of Cups. It's a bit like a stalemate.
Yeah, a bit like a stalemate. There is offers and potentialities, suggestions being brought forward.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel completely in alignment though, and like it's enough for to fully honor.
Like it's just the beginning of
Yeah.
negotiation.
Yeah.
And people are sitting still with their back to the tree, interesting,
Yes.
and saying, that's not good enough.
It makes me think though of the old styles of protests when people would, sit on the ground and really just attach themselves to the land and say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not moving. I'm
Mm-hmm.
connecting to the land here
Mm-hmm.
until this actually feels good in my heart and that the land feels good about this too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? Another
Two
four.
fours.
So we've had how many fours today? That's just been
Wow.
nonstop fours. Four. The word four also connects to the word form and formula. So there's an information. So there's a lot in four about stabilizing, coming to a new foundation, a new stabilizing foundation. And there's a lot of energy has been stirred up over these last few years. Everything is up for grabs. Everything is up on the table. Everything is out in the open. Everything's getting talked about. A lot of emotions flying high. Big, big topics about land, stealing land, grabbing land, exploiting land, on and on, right? Look at what's happening in the Middle East and has happened there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So we're looking at this. It's both the even numbers are very stabilizing. They are not activating, and the fours are the most stabilizing of all. So
these are two actually kind of stuck fours, however, though, in their stabilization. So again, with the stalemate. So let's look at how we're moving that.
There's a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Explore. So everyone, that term, what is it called? Not consensus reality, but there's a lot of parts of the world that are coming to similar conclusions at the same time. Aboriginal Australians are on a similar path. There's other indigenous groups in different parts of the world that are ready to take these steps, these steps with land rights, with sovereign land-based culture. Um, and so it's kind of like a growing phenomena, is what I'm seeing. In the last even 3 years, there's been an increase in interest and curiosity. This explorer card. Oh,
Yes.
wow. What do you feel with that?
It feels that you can kind of see where the stalemate is coming from, because a lot of it right now is fueled by anger and attacking
Mhm.
on both sides of this reality. And it kind of reminds me too with these, where somebody that's sort of in a stalemate or like a passive mode with all of it and just sort of stuck in it, can be that passive aggressive kind of comes out, where it's like, oh, everything's fine and we're working together, yada yada, but underneath there's still all this trauma and anger and blame that's happening.
We're actually, I do this because I've been such an avid, I want to say, historian, historical activist, which is a lot about retelling actual history. And it's not just that the facts are wrong, the slant is wrong. A lot of the way things have been spun in our historical narratives is wrong. So I've been passionate about gathering what I would call more authentic history for many decades. And my children have had to sit through a lot of things that I've pushed on them. But I think over time it's starting to make a little more sense, and I've got a lot more discerning, and I just narrow it down to the real quality stuff. I'm like, okay.
Well, I think also what you're good at is going, okay, this is what they're saying. Because she'll put on these shows and not we were watching one the other night, and my sister, who is 13 years younger than me, commented, because mom says, oh, I always fall asleep when I watch these shows.
You said, I
Mom
said
said
about
that
you.
about me,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, sorry, I'm interested in the topic. I just am not interested. I have a hard time uh, kind of absorbing the information, how
Yeah.
it's being provided. And my sister said, it's not along the lines of how we are receiving information in our day and age, kind of
In
thing,
your generation.
in our generation. However, the information is very important, and we're certainly interested about it. So this is also down another rabbit hole with it. How are we sharing information with different types of people in ways that they're able to absorb it, right? And you're looking at all of these different cultural ways, right? Everybody has a different way about them, and it's almost as though there's a stalemate because there's miscommunications and misunderstandings and
history that's been spun, it's been misrepresented. It's like false flags, false narratives, where it's so setting the record straight, because yeah, Crystal's right. There's anger underneath this. And if we don't know what the true reality of what happened is, and how the narratives got spun, and maybe even a bit of why they got spun that way, then we're just going to all be going around angry at it's out there, that person, that group, that consciousness, that mentality, that political party. We're always just going to be looking for the problem is out there. And it feels like we all need to learn more. Everybody with regards to this topic, especially around BC and Canada, we need to learn more about actually what happened from a lot of different perspectives. Anyway, I'll tell you which show I watched, because you might be interested in checking it out. And what I do appreciate about this one, and I do have, out of hundreds, maybe even thousands of historical movies and shows and things that documentaries I've taken in over the years, I've got it down to about, I don't know, 7 or 8 that I think are essential
Yes.
watching for everyone on the planet.
Yes.
And this is probably coming up for certainly for all Canadians and Americans. I think this is definitely coming up to on that list, and it is called The War of 1812, and it's available on Prime Video, and it's excellent, and it really gets into how you kind of need to know a bit about the Revolutionary War before that, and then the Métis Rebellion after that, to have a sense, and then of course the what went on with the whole history of the Hudson's Bay. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Oh, Lupa, you'd either fall asleep just from the banter of it all or get, I don't know, zapped into another portal or something.
The flies love hanging around us when we are having conversations. Seems to be the way of it.
Anyway, War of 1812 might
Sorry,
be
I
helpful.
thought that was a cute comment.
It's a
I
cute
didn't
comment.
mean to interrupt you. Let's take it back. Let's take it back.
So it could be helpful, Cass, to look at that documentary and add it to the narrative, expanding the narrative and perspective. And if you've seen it before, watch it again, because I saw it before, and when I watched it again, I was like, oh wow, okay. What I liked was that it was giving a kind of not too spun with any particular side, which I like, because you don't get that very often. You usually get an angle on things. So we need to know more, because there's going to be a lot of conversation coming up around this and a lot of anger coming to the surface. Yeah.
Yep.
Right? So we got the moon coming up.
Can I see those last two quickly?
Sure. And you know what? This is also, oh, wow. This is also like we're skidding close to giving up a lot of our rights, which it's not that we'll never get them back. I don't believe that I don't believe in all that doomsday kind of analysis, but it could be a lot more challenging to wrestle them back from the deep state if we let this opportunity pass. We always have more opportunities to heal and evolve and so on. It's never a fixed, like you're hooped, But this is a really big opportunity that's coming up to grab this concept of sovereignty. What is Indigenous? What is sovereignty? What is a land-based sovereign individual? Our individual human rights to have a place on this earth, and maybe all places on this earth that are available to us if we are in right relationship with divine law, with universal law, not with the law of the controllers.
Okay, so if we look at this as well as this Three of Wands is in the past, if we look big past, this is a travel card, right? So people came from foreign lands to indigenous lands, and battle ensued to take over the rights, to take the rights of these lands, right? And it has put us into the shadow aspects of ourselves, the shadow aspects of these dealings. These shadow aspects of these dealings are now coming forward. And so things have been hidden or have been swept under the rug, because we've got these two fours are interesting here, right? Because we've got the three up on the wall here and the Three of Cups here, but there's this golden sword here, there's the golden cup that's being handed off here, and the three here. So something has happened there, even over the past, say, 300 years, maybe, that something needed to be sort of put underground, or needed to be kept until this time that we're in now, where we feel actually pushed to the point where we feel sort of trapped. And particularly, I feel that indigenous people and the indigenous culture have been sort of hogtied, have been and that actually what's happening is there is I feel like new contracts that are ready to be written, new legacy that is coming forward here. And as you said, Mom, that it's almost like we're going to be pushed all the way to the point where we're going to have all of our rights, so much of our rights taken from us, that the indigenous people are pushed to the point where they have continuously end up at the stalemate between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the place which, and I almost feel like to finish this, we could pull 3 more to see how do we end up here from the versus here.
Well, I want to just make a thank you, and I want to make a point about there is happening in Australia with the Aboriginal Australians. They have a concept of philosophy called Warjan Pelegrin, and it is in their lore, in their legacy lore, that this time white fella and black fella will work together. And what they say is that white fella will support black fella to reclaim Indigenous sovereignty and show how it's done. So there's something about, because they're still closer to it. It's been such a long time for us Europeans that we lost it forever ago, thousands of years ago. We had things taken, our Indigenous lands were decimated, depopulated. All our trees were cut down, all our female, the witches and the healers were burned. It's like our holy people were just everything, right? Like a lot of what we've seen ripple out in the world was done to us way long ago, even before the Romans. So it's Indigenous people who have within 7 to 10 generations, a collective memory of what it was like to be a sovereign on the land. They will show us, and they will insist on reclaiming that right. And how we support this as Europeans that are supposedly the perpetrators of this. What if the perpetrators are from another dimension and it was done to us first and we just went out and reenacted that trauma on others? How we support the healing is we support them. We don't try to stand at the front of the line and go, we want land back. We say, let's give it to them. Let's support them. And then down the road, we can learn from that how to reclaim our own sovereignty. That's what they show there.
Oh, that's interesting here too. Will all Earth beings be considered indigenous when ETs come in the picture?
And thank you, Vicky. I feel that ETs, I keep seeing this and have been now for many years. I was a big time UFOologist for decades. And it's not that I don't believe in beings, what we might call others, that definitely don't look or sound or act like us, but I believe they are our relatives through time and space dimensions. So we are related to them. And so all Earth will be considered indigenous when we remember who we are. That we are those ones from long ago and the ones from the future that are coming now to go, hey, you guys need to pay attention here. This is a pretty important juncture you're at. We're here to help you so you don't make a big mess. Yeah. Wow. Look at this. Earth-based.
So if we're coming back to the question and completing it, looking into Indigenous land rights in BC and how will this impact the rest of Canada? And we're speaking to also tying it in with how Indigenous people are navigating their rights, their land, their culture that have been going through this for 10 generations now. So if we look at how to navigate this going forward and how it will affect the rest of Canada. So there's something where now we're moving in a better direction. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right? What we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing here, and that it's a sort of there's a completion as to some of the weight that's been attached to this reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's been really heavy on our Indigenous people and land rights in
Mm-hmm.
BC, in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got these 210s here.
I really feel there's going to be something around purpose, like fit for purpose or something. There's going to be a like there will be real traction around what's the purpose, because we do know here in Canada, and I'm sure in other parts of the world, that unfortunately some members of different Indigenous communities have really got into a dysfunctional kind of codependent relationship with elite policymakers and corporate entities and government bodies, and they have taken huge amounts of financial, not even huge, not nowhere near what the big boys are making on it, but they've taken financial cuts to give exploitation rights to these corporations. And what I feel is going to start to shift is we're going to start to see people in agreement in the Indigenous communities that we don't want your money. We want our land, and we want the right to do with it what we want to do with it. And we want more of it. We want more right to more land to use for better purposes. And I just feel
Yeah,
like
and
there's a
better
real,
for the youth,
oh,
right?
wow, yeah.
Better
And for the
for,
the next 10 generations.
yes, yes. And I feel as though there's been a lot that there's going to be in these generations to come, just as in our European ancestry and in much of our culture, there's going to be in these generations to come way showers with this youth that are going to be taking the much of the ancient wisdom, and like you've said too about that, right? About how this next generation that's coming in is going to be actually really working alongside the elders to bring a lot of the old ways forward,
Mhm.
and that we're going to see a lot more of maybe something that we haven't considered before,
And
doing all of this a new way, and as you said, bringing it back to
purpose.
the land.
Yeah, it's not about necessarily a spiritual philosophy
Mm-hmm.
or a teaching. It's not in the mind, right? And it's not in the spiritual philosophy, it's in the earth. It's literally going, look, if we agree on these earth-based regenerative agriculture, healing the earth, if it's I don't want to use the word environmentalism because it's also been hijacked, but I feel like a land-based, purposeful, co-creative agreements, even that it's not even going to be so much about who owns this. It's going to be, what does this land get to be used for? Like,
Yes.
what is the value of, it doesn't get to be, it's like, what's the charter of rights of the land? It's almost like going to be putting the rights back into the land, and then into the caretakers, which is how the original Indigenous system worked. It was the land and the caretakers. There was no owners. You didn't have right to say forever in perpetuity, all my descendants get a right to do whatever they want with this land. You were chosen as a caretaker, and you held that code of ethics, and then you were welcome on the land because you had that.
And this is such a an all-encompassing concept, right? I know that we've spoken on here previous, and Lupo was just talking about how crazy it is that we have to, we're born to this earth and then we have to pay to be here on this earth.
Mhm.
And I feel as though the new generations that are stepping forward, teens and younger, are just like, this is insanity. We can't afford any of the land anyhow. So for the most part, we're going to be stepping away from this ownership deal and actually just be working with, like, how can we work with the land, how can we work with each other,
Mhm.
and get away from these old money systems in general.
Yeah, land legacy projects, and there's really nothing about ownership here. So stewardship. And isn't that, I mean, it
Stewardship, love
sounds
it.
almost just so fantastical, right? It sounds like some kind of utopian, like Shangri-La, like who's going to live like that? No one's going to be able to be held to that accountability. I feel like, yeah, we got a lot of work to get there. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of healing to do to get there, but where else are we going? Yeah. Like, where else do we want to go? Like, someone else gets to say what happens to this and they have authority and ownership, and at some point we want to go back to stewardship and get away from ownership is what I'm feeling. And so BC could be a bit of ground zero with this. There might be, and it might start real small. It might start with like breakout communities that say, we're going to do it differently. We're going to do our governance differently.
Yes.
And we're going to create these charters.
Yes.
And these charters are going to be the new laws of the land.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that.
We went down a rabbit hole. Oops.
Hey, that's what we're here for, right? Thanks, ladies. Love the energies you both bring. Love it. Anything else we want to say before we...
What are any more comments? Anything else we can pull on?
Oh, there's lots to pull on. They're just
rabbit hole?
not yet.
Small, mini rabbit hole.
Let me see here.
Yeah. That was
Right?
what I was looking at. Oh,
Curious.
travel.
Was this the one you were looking at?
It was, but
Yeah.
I think that's...
No?
We have travel, but we also have Christmas, December 25th and January 7th will be identified as only a retailer's
Do you want that
bonus time.
one? No, wait, I pulled this one up.
Okay. I kind of want to do Christmas too, but we'll do that one closer to Christmas. How about that?
John Dizzle, we're speaking about this comment here. If Christmas on December 25th and January 7th will be identified as only retailers' bonus time, we'll continue.
And that gets into resetting the calendars to new time frequencies, which is going to do so much for healing our psyche, is what I'm hearing. So we're back to the original conversation, which is about time. Interesting, we're talking about time and space.
And new forms of travel.
New forms of travel.
Like the Jetsons, moving through time and space. I'm going to shuffle too, please.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
I get over in my little zone over here.
You think we were miles apart? Yeah.
we need to do the shows in your office so that I'm like, oh, it's not. This is where I work and do all my channeling and everything. So I'm like, la, 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 la.
Any different in my office, in my desk. But I spoke to that. Remember, right? It's I don't speak as much on these shows as I do on my own personal show, and I kind of hand the floor over quite often to my mother, because I do believe that she has a lot of wisdom, and if I have something to share, then I'll chime in. And we quite often cover topics that you do have a lot of things to speak to. And I generally go for more of these personal, interpersonal things and human dynamic stuff, not so much as of the larger world picture stuff. I have some things to say.
Oh,
And
you
some,
bring such powerful perspective to any topic, Crystal.
yeah,
And, this is all relatively new between Crystal and I, too, in the sense of, for a lot of years, Crystal had her very solid opinions about things, which were in some ways a little contrasting to mine. And
you know,
so that she would say that she is really valuing my wisdom and my opinion, it's we've grown to that place. And I really feel very honored and blessed by that. I don't take that for granted. And Crystal definitely has a mouth. She can speak for herself and she can say what she feels and run roughshod over me, let me tell you.
is that true? That is true. That is true. And you can, I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead.
We can both hold our own.
Yes, we can.
Middle.
You do you. Right. See, you have a wonderful daughter. Thank you. I have a wonderful mother too. So
Sure
it
do.
works out well
I
for
sure
both of
do.
us.
So travel. New forms of travel. I'm just going to pull 3 cards because we're getting up to the hour here. New forms of travel.
How are we in the same 3 cards? Let's see. Yep.
Ooh, that's a travel card.
That is
though.
a travel card. Underwater portals. I keep talking about them. Someday we're gonna look back and say, Crystal was right about that. We talked there was a little conversation about that on my show, I feel like on Tuesday even. Or no, was that our show on Tuesday? Underground tunnels.
So in terms of Jetsons, I'm going to pull a few more cards. I'm going to pull 3 more on this. Right now, I don't see a Jetson style. And when you say that, I guess what I'm referring to is tech that will allow us to sort of have floating cars or those, what are those called? The super fast tunnel trains and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing techy here. This is not techy. There's a lot of cards that could turn up to show technology where we could have space age technology. None of these are that. I'll pull 3 more. We'll see if any of them show up. The space age technology ones. Nope. Nope. None. So interesting. 2 wands and a pentacle. All cups down here. It's interesting because this kind of takes me back to, were you talking about time travel? Were you talking about dimensional travel in a show of yours?
No, but what sort of what I was about telepathy. I was talking about telepathy. Telepathy. And I feel like that also relates to us getting into faster forms of time travel as well, because it's that time travel in our thoughts. And it seems here for one with this that travel is going with that 10 of wands, that travel is going to need less energy consumption going forward.
Both emotional and physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this feels like these technologies that we're toting right now, I think they're going to be very, very hard on our energy bodies.
Yes.
I'm getting like this is a lot of emotional disturbance, folks. This is tarot readers, jump in here and verify. 4 of Cups, 8 of Cups, 7 of Cups. I think we might come out of this is almost like motion sickness. I don't know that our form, especially the emotional body, is going to do well with the technology that is rapid. And
that's an interesting one. Because I find, and every time that I go on a longer trip, particularly if I drive or even if we're flying somewhere, we have our practice of pulling our energy back into our bodies and then grounding our energy down when we get somewhere. And I still feel like that's where jet lag, say, sets in, right?
Mhm.
It's actually really quite difficult on our energy bodies to fly already through so much of these dimensions. So what we're probably going to require is that we get a lot lighter in our energy bodies and that we still have some, I don't know, emotional denseness or something to work through.
Uh-huh. Very good. And look at this. This is all energy and physicality. So I think we're going to teleport, bilocate. I think we're going to physically, without technology, I think we're going to dimensionally be able, and it's going to start where we have the ability to almost sense a different time, a different place. You know, have you ever had that sensation where you're suddenly thinking about someone in your family or something and you feel like they're right there, or you're in their room, you know, you're in their living room, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so close, I feel like they're right here, I can feel them. We're going to get more of that ability to tune in with a locale, and it will happen not because we want it to emotionally, but because we're getting better and better, as Crystal said, being lighter in our emotional body.
Yeah. Yes.
And then we will.
Bingo, Ashala.
Yeah.
Yes.
G-force is difficult to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to be very sick from that. And I think that I think there will be some interesting tech that comes out that will be, people will jump on and go, yeah, let's do it. And then they'll be like, oh my God, I was sick for like a month.
We just don't know the way that that's going to
Yeah.
affect us. However, we're capable of, I feel, so much more connection and
Mhm.
ability to be able to tune, as you said, tune in with the other
Mhm.
without having to actually physically show up there. So it'll be very interesting, and that's what I was communicating about with the telepathy as well.
There's this, as in bilocate, break up molecules and jump over to the other TV wheel style. Well, I'm going to leave you with it's another relation quote connection to, I have a connection to an Indigenous Aboriginal Australian group, and they have a spiritual elder who's passed over. His name is Karno Walker, and I have his book. They wrote a book about him, and he was, you know, Graham Hancock knew him. In fact, Graham Hancock is in the part of the book where Carno was able to, like, literally disappear from one place and show up, I don't know, hundreds of miles away the same night with no vehicle or anything. And they, you know, the phenomena is kind of like miraculous, right? But he says, we all knew how to do this. This isn't that hard. It's just foreign to our sensibility right now.
Anastasia is the same in the Anastasia books
Correct.
too, right?
Correct. This is not. It's not It's been done on Earth since we've lived here.
Yes.
During our lifetimes.
Precisely.
And it was done on Earth a lot in other epochs. So
yes. We certainly need to, right? We need to get out of our sticky emotional bodies. We need to go deeper into knowing ourselves better and really work away from so much of, oh, I didn't realize I'm pointing at the cards, but I'm not up there. Really work through that messy emotional body is all of that escapism, all of the all of that which we have been fed as a narrative to keep us heavy. To keep us heavy.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing, I think, I feel a lot more of these, our own personal questing to find our own emotional light bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you know, it's okay that we have to go down the experimentation route a bit too and see what happens. And you know, definitely I would say if you're wanting to try this technology as it emerges, like maybe start small and see how your system handles it. I'm not saying by any means anything is wrong or bad. I'm just saying it might not be all it's cracked up to be. We might not want to put all our eggs in that basket because they might get broken. Some of them might get broken. Whereas it feels like this is naturally where we're going. This is naturally where we're going.
Yes.
And I love it. Totally love it. Can you bring up the slides, Crystal?
Let's do it. That's what I was
And
thinking. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun. You
so
have come down the rabbit hole with us here. Thank you for joining us. And just a couple of shout outs here to Ascension Organites. Anything to say, Mama, on that?
wow, crystal grid sets, crystal collections, handpicked for every intention. Coupon code Beyond Mystic, all capital letters for 10% off. You can check below. There's a link to book a session with either Crystal or myself. Crystal's got half-hour sessions up now as well,
Oh
so
my gosh, I
that's
know. I
really exciting.
totally forgot to talk about that on Tuesday. Get so caught up in all of the
Totally.
talkie. And
And then let me just share a little bit about this. Janine and I just completed our last workshop, well, not our final workshop together, but last of this second part of this series on past lives. And we talked about past lives and our ancestors and the relationship between the phenomena known as past lives and also how that relates to our literal biological ancestors. Fascinating exploration. We've both had a lot of experience exploring through doing sessions for people, learning a lot about the crossover between ancestors and past lives and you know being reborn into a family line. How can you tell if you know one of your grandchildren is maybe someone from the past, maybe one of your parents, and so on. So this is a really interesting workshop, and check it out. There's a code to get a 10% discount.
past 10. That's the code.
Love it.
And we will take that down.
Mhm.
And yes, so I am now offering also half-hour sessions on the Beyond Mystic consultations page where we can actually get pretty deep in that amount of time. Cover
Yeah.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
I felt that it was necessary to add some more accessibility. And quite often, I can sometimes get to the end of an hour with someone and they're like, I want to see you again next week, kind of thing. So it's nice to offer that little bit of extra or top up or tune up. If you've just recently had a reading, but you have a couple more questions come up or
Correct.
something that relates to that,
Mhm.
it's nice to kind of tune in again. So that's that.
Love that.
And
Do you recommend, Crystal, that people bring questions for that, for those half-hour sessions?
absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is really nice to have a question or some topic to focus on because in our hour, we will often do our astrological overview wheel.
Mhm.
And from that, questions will arise quite often, whether you come in with questions or not. Sometimes people will come in just wanting to know where I'm at right now and what will come through.
Mhm.
And so, but with the half hour, it's really nice to be able to have something to really focus
Something
towards.
very specific. So it's great for a tune-up if you've already had a session with Crystal or myself and you just have a couple more little questions you want to look at, or if you have, you know, one major question or a few smaller ones that you want to address quickly, this is an ideal option for you. So check that out and use coupon code Beyond Mystic, all capital letters, to get a 10% discount. That's it, folks. Have a beautiful
3:11
week.
here. Love it.
3:11.
Perfect timing.
Woohoo!
Signing off. Until next week.
Blessings, everybody. Bye
Blessings.
for